Hello and welcome back, or welcome for the first time. In either case, come on in and get cozy, just like I am right now, wearing my Autumn Storm hoodie. So, if you can tell by kind of the little bit more like drab lighting that's kind of in here, it's definitely not as bright. That is because right now outside it is very cloudy and very drizzly and it's very cold, and I'm like, oh my god, that is perfect crafting weather. And I thought, what better time to bust out my Autumn Storm hoodie and get nice and cozy today, because of course this type of weather is sweater weather, which happens to be the theme of this episode of Coffee and Crafting with the Cocky Crocheter. So today what I'm going to be working on is a little mini project where I am making a sample size of a new hooded pattern that I am wanting to work on, because as much as I do love this hoodie, the hood is not exactly my favorite. It's a little too pointy, even though I was trying to get it to not be, but you know, it's fine. It was my first attempt at ever making a hood, so you know, it is what it is. And now I'm making another attempt, and I have decided I'm going to try out a different hood style. So that is the craft I'm going to be working on today. But regardless of the craft I'm working on, that's not as important as what you're going to be working on. So before I just start rambling, let's go ahead and get this camera flipped around. Go ahead and grab your own drink, your own project, and let's snuggle up together in this sweater weather. And yeah, let's just get started. All right, it's time to get started. So of course we're going to start with our candle, and today I'm busting out my sweater weather candle. As you can see, I have used quite a bit of it, so we'll see if it even stays lit this whole time. We're gonna do our best attempt. Ooh. Gonna have to use a second match. There we go. Let's try that. There. Get that right there. And then for my coffee, I've got this special mug that actually has a little cozy sweater on it. It's kind of hard to show. I don't want to spill my coffee, but it's got like this knitted cable design on it. And I got this as a gift like years and years ago. And it's just like such an adorable little mug, and so this is going to serve as kind of like the dual purpose of having my coffee but also being my inspiration for sweater weather. So I'm going to go ahead and just set that right there, and then let's see, we're going to go ahead and kind of scooch those around, and then I've got my project right here. So this is just, like I said, a small sample. I'm not making anything big quite yet. I just want to kind of get the techniques down. I've already made one portion of the hood, and I'm doing the other side of it right here to match it. And then it's a 3-piece hood design that I'm exploring. So that means that I'm going to eventually have another piece that once I put these together, there will be a center piece that goes along the middle to kind of get it a little bit more of that like kind of flat hood look rather than the point in the back. So that's kind of what I'm going to be working on today. So let's go ahead and get started. Now that I'm kind of getting my bearings about way of making this, I kind of just like, you know, chat a little bit about what is just kind of on my mind right now. And one thing is that as the weather is cooling off, of course, and there's like, you know, storms and everything, I know that like the holidays are coming up. It's like almost the winter season. And I know that there are a lot of us that get very busy around this time of year. And I know it can sometimes be very hard, but I know that for me, I like to try, even during the really hustle and bustle of this time of year, I like to take advantage of times when I just feel naturally at peace. Whenever there's certain weather going on outside and I just have a free moment just to sit and work on my crafts or just hang out with family and friends, not necessarily having to do anything. Like, you know, it is fun going out and like, you know, doing stuff, but sometimes it really is nice just to hang out with people and do nothing together. And I don't know about you, but that was a huge inspiration behind why I wanted to start doing these videos, was because I know that for me, sometimes it's hard to find people just to sit and just do nothing with. And so I thought, you know, maybe I could be that for you. Or, you know, if you're like, you already do have somebody, but you just, you know, you want to expand your circle of people that you can do things with, then, you know, I'm here as well. So yeah. Oh, here, hold on. Let me have to count. Okay. Yeah, I think I do this. Okay. But yeah. So out the gate, I do have a question. Is there a person or a group of people that you can just very easily hang out with and just do nothing? Like it's very comfortable, very natural for you all. I would love to know. So you can feel free and add a comment. Just let me know, you know, who those special people are, who that special person is that you enjoy just doing nothing with whenever weather is like this, or even during nice weather. Sometimes even if that person is just yourself, because I know that some people, they're like, no, I love certain people, or maybe, you know, like I do enjoy certain people, but overall, I just enjoy my own company, and that is also perfectly well. Like you can really enjoy your own company. I know I enjoy my own company. But it is also sometimes nice to be like, oh, I've got somebody else that I can also turn to for that. Oh, looks like one of my wicks just went out. Yeah, I thought this candle was a little low. But I thought I can't have a sweater weather episode and not burn my sweater weather candle. So I'm looking at this, I'm wondering, I think, did I do this right? Do you ever do that sometimes where you're like, you're not quite sure if you did something right? Okay, yeah, I think, yeah, they look like they match up. Okay, I think I did the right number of rows, which means actually I'm almost done with this little swatch. Yay! So you'll get to see me finish this up, but then also begin working on the center piece, the center little like rectangular piece that's going to go into the middle. looks like, yeah, so close here to the end. Unfortunately, I do not have my crochet bag right next to me. Left that in a totally different room in the house. And I don't really want to go up and go get it to get my fancy little yarn scissors out of there. But I can go ahead and just grab just like a random pair of scissors here and snip that. And there we are. Got that little side piece of our little mini hood. Woo! Yeah, these are super adorable. So I've got those now, and I'm ready to begin the little centerpiece here. And I already calculated out earlier how many stitches and rows and stuff that I need. So I can go ahead and do that. We're gonna test my ability to count. So before that, let me fortify myself with a little bit of coffee here. There we go. Okay, nice and ready. All right, I think I did it right. And even if I didn't, it's no big deal. I can always just rip back and start it over again. But for now, I just gonna trust that I did the right number. I'm wondering how many of you have dealt with that. If you do like any kind of knitting or crochet, or if you do cross stitch or embroidery where you're having to count things like squares or stitches or anything, and you always like double and triple check, but then you always have that little bit of self-doubt. And then you're like, okay, I know I got it. I know I did it right. But then you get to the end and you're like, oh no, I'm off by like 2 or 3. How did that happen? Or am I the only one that happens to? I don't think it is. I definitely have like a lot of crafter friends who that happens to them all the time too. But at least at this point, I don't have to really worry about counting. I'm just making sure I'm working into every chain here. You know that the foundation chain for crochet can be kind of one of the slowest parts because it's just not a whole lot to grip onto. It's a little bit more fiddly. But once you kind of get past that part, I know for me, I do go a lot faster once it's more established. Also, sorry if I keep going into like long pauses of silence. I'm just enjoying listening to the rain outside. I'm not sure if it's picking up on my microphone, but if you can hear it, yay. If you can't, then I'm sorry. But I know that I'm just kind of enjoying the sound. It's very like soothing, very meditative. Plus also, I mean, we don't always have to fill every silence with noise. We can just enjoy that silence. It kind of harkens back to the question I asked earlier about people you can just sit around and do nothing with. I also know that there are definitely certain people that I can sit around and say nothing with. My husband is definitely one of them. He and I can just sit there and we'll just be doing our own thing. We'll be doing our parallel play in the living room. Obviously, I'll be crocheting and he'll be doing something like, playing on his phone and watching sports. Sometimes he'll, on occasion, get out a book and just sit there and read. Though he usually does have to have some kind of stimulation. So he'll also sometimes have like music or background TV on or something like that, which I don't mind. It's fine. I'm not really paying attention to it anyway. I'm just working on my own craft. But we just sit there. We don't have to say anything. We just enjoy being in each other's company and just feeling really relaxed. So yeah. So sometimes I'll slip into silent moments and just get lost in working on my crochet stitches and then forget that I'm around somebody and then be like, oh my God, I haven't said a word for like several minutes. I hope they don't think I'm just ignoring them. In addition to the sound of the rain, one of the sounds I also really enjoy while I'm working on crochet is the sound of my hook rubbing up against my yarn as I'm moving in and out of the stitches. I love the sound when it's a different, so this is like, of course, a metal hook, and the yarn I'm using is like a 100% non-superwash wool. And so just the sound of wool on metal to me is just one of the most soothing sounds ever. Like when I work crochet with any kind of wool, superwash, non-superwash, like I did when I was making this hooded sweater, I loved the sound of my hook when I worked with this yarn. Oh, it was just, I could just sit there and listen to it for so long. But I also know that I have some cotton yarn that I really like to work with that also makes a soothing sound. It's a different sound from this. It's still kind of, like that like friction-y sound, but I know that cotton is a little bit, I would say, smoother, depending on the cotton. Like there's some cottons that can be, rough spun, but the cotton that I like to use is all like the very smooth, like mercerized cotton. Or even if it's not a mercerized cotton, it's still a very like high quality, smooth, tightly spun cotton. So it feels very like smooth and lofty. Whereas wool, I know, has like, the fuzziness to it, the halo-y feel. So they just create different sounds. And while I don't use wood hooks really at all, I have before, and I do enjoy them. Aesthetically, I like the way they look, but I generally gravitate towards metal hooks. They just are easier for me to work with because I like to go really smoothly and I like the way it glides. But I know for some people, they prefer wood because, it slows down, it grips a little bit better. Plus also, when I did work with wood hooks, wood and wool, oh, you want to talk about a great sound together. Like, I don't think you can beat the sound of a wood hook working with like a soft merino yarn. Oh my God. Just, it's so loud, which I know you're like, maybe like loud isn't probably like the most soothing way to describe it. But what I mean is that it's kind of like light drizzle versus like a heavy downpour of rain. They both are soothing, tranquil sounds, but one of them just has a lot more oomph and power behind it. Whenever I would work with wood hooks with wool yarn, it just had a lot more kind of that like power behind it. And it just felt good and it sounded good. And I just really loved it. In fact, I think I might even, you know, the 4mm hook. Let's see if I can't find one of my 4mm wood hooks here. No. Well, that's a 4.5. Here we go. Got myself a 4mm hook. This is a G hook, 4mm. It's one of my Furls streamlined ones in their ebony. Oh, oh my gosh. I haven't used this hook in so long. I forgot how good it felt. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm kind of excited. All right, here we go. Ooh, I forgot how long these were. Oh yeah, that's definitely way louder. Definitely a lot more of a grip. Again, I'm not sure if my microphone is able to pick up the difference in the sound, but there is a difference. And you can see I'm not going nearly as fast. This is definitely a lot grippier. Here, let me take a quick sip of coffee. But also like because, okay, so as you can see here, this hook is way shorter than this one. So in order for me to get my bearings with it, it's a lot different for me to work with. So that's also, I think, a great question to ask for those of you who would like to answer in the comments. Do you have a particular preference on the type of tools that you use when you craft? Well, maybe it shouldn't be do you. We all do. I think that that's just a given. But what are your preferences for the types of tools you craft with? So I know for me as a crocheter, I prefer metal over wood or plastic. Like I do not like using plastic or resin hooks. I've tried them and they're beautiful. I know that Furls makes some beautiful resin hooks, but when I've tried using them, they don't work as well as their wood ones. And then of course, like I always gravitate towards metal, like I said. But then I also know that for knitters, some people prefer wood and some people prefer metal needles. And maybe not even material wise, but like I know that there's differences in fixed circulars and interchangeable circulars and swivel cords versus non-swivel cords and things like that. I know if you do like cross stitch or embroidery, you've got like your hoops that you work with and different needles and things like that. I want to know, like, what are some of your favorite tools that you like to use when you craft? And either because of like, you know, the ease with which you use them, or maybe there's like sentimental value behind them, or the type of material or the way it's structured, anything that, you know, you think, oh, this is why I always gravitate towards this. I love working with this tool or this set of tools when I do my crafts. Okay, I know I started off slow at the beginning, but I think I've honestly picked up some speed here now that I've kind of reacclimated myself to how to use the Furls hook. This is really enjoyable. Oh my goodness. I say that and then I snag my yarn. goodness, I did it again. I realized I like slipped into just like a silent trance, listening to the yarn brushing against the wood of my hook. You know what, like I said, sometimes it's okay just to enjoy crafting silently. Oh my goodness, I snapped. Oh, and I think it looks like another one of the wicks went out. So there's only one lone little survivor in my candle. Which I guess means I just have to go back to the store and get another one. Oh no, what a shame. I have to get another candle from someplace. Usually like to wait for the special deals at like Bath and Body Works, which is where, you know, of course we got this candle from. And we'll usually go when they do like the 2 for $20 deal on their 3-wick candles. And of course, you know, we'll stock up on things like soaps and things like that too. A lot of fun to do that. Especially for me, because I mean, probably tell if you've watched any of these episodes, I love candles. Like I love having a house that smells really good. Like I'm very particular about that. Anytime I feel like my home does not smell really pleasant, it bothers me on a very deep level. So I'm like, I have to do something about it. Like I have to clean something, I have to burn some candles or burn some like incense cones or something like that. Just, you know, anything to like get my house to smell really good. So, I mean, who wants to work on their crafts or hang out in a place that it doesn't smell right? They don't like the smell. And for me, candles are a very easy way of dealing with that. Okay, as much as I enjoyed working with the wood hook, I think because I do want to go for a little bit more speed, I'm going to go ahead and switch back to my metal clover hook here. You know what, I'll just to keep it hanging out with us, I can go ahead and just set it right there on the little swatches I already made. Oh my goodness. There we go. That can be our little like inspirational item there, in addition to the little sweater cozy thing on this mug. I say switch back to the metal to go faster, but honestly I don't think I'm going really any faster than I was before. But you know what? I think that's just because it was right at the beginning of the row, and that was a bit tricky. But here we go. Here we go. I'm going to go ahead and take another little sip here. Oh, yeah. God, coffee and rain, perfect together. Yeah, I'm definitely picking up speed now. There we go. Also, because the hook is a little shorter. I'm not having to stretch this finger nearly as much. So as much as I do enjoy the furls hooks, they are sometimes a little too long for the way I hold my hook. So while I can enjoy doing it for a little bit, I can't work long projects with them as easily as I can with my shorter clover hooks. They're still really good quality hooks, and I still highly recommend them because, especially for people who like if they have bigger hands or they crochet without like having to stretch their fingers, then those are really good hooks to work with. And I know for some people, these hooks are too short. They're like, there's not enough room to work their stitches. I just happen to be a bit of a tight crocheter, so I work my stitches fairly close, so I don't really need as much space on my hook. But I know for some people, they love having that like really long tip. This, I didn't mean for this to turn into like a, a hook review or anything. I just literally was just like, I just like talking about my hooks and, the pros and cons of each one, like what I like about them. Yeah. All right, friends. Well, I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up for today, but I'm so glad you got to see me make some progress on my little hood sample here. And we still have one lone survivor flame still fighting it out there at the end. But I do appreciate you stopping by. I hope that you enjoyed our time together. I know I definitely did. If you did, make sure you go ahead and give a thumbs up to this video. And please make sure you also subscribe and hit that bell notification so you can know every time I put out another one of these episodes, and then we can continue to craft together. In the meantime, I hope you enjoy your own sweater weather wherever you may be, and have a wonderful day.